Hi folks, my name is Pete. I'm the Country Director for Boldr, South Africa. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Caraway, our first client to visit the offices of Boldr in South Africa. And it's super exciting to see the time and the energy that you've both invested to come and visit us, to get to know us and to meet the team. We've got some questions prepared and we'd love to get to know a little bit more about Caraway, what makes Caraway different, and also to understand what it's been like working with Boldr so far. So to start with, I'd like to get to know a little bit more about you, who you are, and what you do at Caraway. Nancy, let's start with you.
Thank you, Pete. Very excited to be here. My name is Nancy and I'm the customer experience lead here at Caraway. And I've been with Caraway for about 1.5 years now. It's been a smashing time. Mark?
Great. Echoing Nancy, very excited to be here. Thanks for having us. I'm Mark Riskowitz. I am the VP of Operations at Caraway. I work with Nancy on everything CX and have been with the company for almost 3.5 years at this point. And yeah, it's been a wonderful trip so far. So thanks for having us.
So I see behind you there's some Caraway products.
Caraway is a modern kitchenware brand based in the United States. The company is around 3 years old since launch, and as you can see, we sell kitchenware products, everything from cookware to bakeware, food storage, and this lovely tea kettle that we have in front of us as well. We started by selling online, direct to consumer, and we then grew that into a omni-channel brand that sells in various retail stores, marketplaces. So our products are a safer alternative to what's on the market today. Our flagship product, this cookware set, we launched that in November 2019, and part of the attraction to it is that our non-stick proprietary coating is a lot safer than many of the alternative coatings that you have on the market today. So what we are really going for is a safer, more aesthetically pleasing and more convenient option for customers. And so far that has been resonating pretty well in the space, and our customers are certainly very loyal and very curious to see what products we continue to launch and what colors that we decide to come out with. So that's our offering in a nutshell.
Nancy, I can ask you, what makes you proud to work at Caraway?
You know, working with Caraway, it's probably one of the first, e-commerce brands that doesn't just say they value customer service and customer service is the heart of the company. It truly is that, they put a lot of emphasis on the customer service department, making sure that we're entwined with all of the inner workings that's going on. Culture as well.
Yeah, I think working at Caraway is really fun and exciting. I think we lead with the idea of valuing people, really expressing and exploring the individuality of our team and our partners that we work with, such as Boldr. And I think that we just have a lot of fun doing what we do. We really delegate with authority. We try and kind of break that norm of what corporate, at least the corporate America or the corporate sort of lifestyle in the world is, of just focusing on key objectives only, and that we try to sort of have a lot of fun and joy in doing what we do. And it starts internally. If we can get that right, our customers see that as well, which why we feel customer experience is one of the most exciting verticals in the business, and we just can't wait to keep on growing it and trying things out and taking it to the next level.
What's really impressed me and what's inspired me is noticing how the Caraway team working for you at Boldr is really connected to what you do and what you're all about. They seem so connected to your values and to your mission. Do you mind sharing with us a little bit about Caraway's mission and about Caraway's values?
Sure, of course. Caraway's mission, to paraphrase, is really to elevate the kitchens of our customers in both a health as well as a sort of elegance and sort of modernization aspect. We're really trying to simplify the products that people cook with and just make that experience as easy, as pleasant and enjoyable as possible, while leaning on the sustainable and sort of safer direction in terms of where consumer products are going today. And essentially our goals and sort of our value is we started the company as Caraway Home. The intention is we do want to be that household brand after we hit some more milestones and continue our product launches. And we'd really love to see Caraway kitchens and then Caraway homes around the world, not just the US eventually.
I think the most important thing is just being treated as a human, in your conversations between a client and an agent. Nobody wants to feel like they're just a dollar sign, which you see a lot in normal customer service. It's just like, oh, I'm just a person who gave you my money and you don't care about me anymore. At Caraway, we want all of our clients and our agents to know it's really goes beyond that. It's empathy. It's that connection of, if you have something that's going on, as an agent, how would you want that solved? If that's how you would want it, why can't we do that for our customer as well? And just making sure that they know we actually care about them as people and not just the money that's coming into the company.
What do you enjoy most about being a CX professional?
I mean, honestly, I'm a huge people person, guys, but I did start with Caraway during the pandemic. So being this huge people person, having that human-to-human contact is very important to me. But specifically as a CX professional, I just love growing and developing talent within my team. When I first joined, we only had a few in-house agents, and since then we've been able to promote and identify different individuals and their strengths and, put them into positions where they can also make a change, where they're empowered to make a change. And I think that's probably my favorite part.
Thanks.
I think Nancy's really hit the nail on the head with that. We have a lot of fun with what we do. We have a lot of fun with our team, both the internal team at Caraway, our partners. Even here this week that we've been has been so exciting and also so humbling as well. Because I think in the world of COVID, and Nancy mentioning that she joined during the pandemic, we had launched about 6 months before everything really came down, and March sort of 2020, that sort of pivotal month started. We had this vision of, well, we're all moving remote. The world is very online, transactional a lot, and how can we really change that to a point of just bringing that human empathy and connection into the mix? And we thought, well, the greatest place to do it is CX. And we even talk about CX and not CS. And I think, we've had this conversation a couple times where, customer service, customer support is always seen as this sort of cost center around the world. We really are changing that from a support to an experience because we believe that experience starts much earlier on than the first email of I have a challenge or I have a problem. And I think that, we're trying to, I wouldn't say reinvent the wheel, that's a little bit too ambitious, but really just do things a bit differently that spurs others in the industry, other operational and CX professionals to be innovative and to be diverse and really just bring a lot of sort of momentum and change into the sort of traditional structures that you see a lot that still exist in majority of the places in the world. And we do that through human connection. We have a ton of fun. We joke around. There's no, I would say there's hopefully not a lot of intimidation, if any. We really just want to unlock the best of people and make sure they have fun doing what they do, or at least set them up for success in future endeavors that they might want to pursue.
Thank you. Let's change tack a little bit. Let's look at the tech stack. So tell us about your business and the processes that you are running and what tech stack that you are using to help bring in efficiencies and effectiveness into your company. And do you have any suggestions or recommendations for our listeners?
Yeah, so right now on the customer experience end, our tech stack starts with our help desk. And we're currently using Gorgeous, not gorgeous, gorgeous. And something with this specific help desk that we like a lot is we're able to actually not only make teams but sub teams, and really filter the way messages are coming in, who they're going to, who's seeing it, and how it's shared across teams. We also are using Loop for our returns, which also is focusing on changing the returns experience. And it's not just something that's seen as like, oh, we're losing money. It's seen as a new experience for the customers as they close out their circle with us. It gives them the opportunity not to just return, but to potentially exchange for another product or leave positive feedback with us that we can actually use within our product development to improve products. We also are using Stella Connect for our customer surveys, which brings the whole CSAT experience to a different level. We're able to actually separate CSAT and NPS now, and give customers the opportunity to review their experience with our agents, but also review their experience with the product, which really makes it, I don't want to say easier, but it makes it a more seamless process when giving feedback to our agents, because we're able to really tell them like, oh, okay, you know what? The customer might not be happy with the product, but they were so happy with the knowledge you were able to give to them, the response that you gave to them, the empathy that they experienced from you. We are also using a lot of different tech stacks within our fulfillment. If Mark, you want to take over?
Yeah, of course. I think to kind of continue that chain, we use our order management system is Fulfill.io. One of the newer systems that we've been using. We do run our website on Shopify, which is definitely an anchor through a lot of this. From the marketing side, Klaviyo, quite a lot of the common, I would say, platforms for the most part that you see in the sort of industry today. But what's interesting that I think that we kind of are tackling this from both sides, where we are very, very tech heavy. We love the word automate, self-serve, all those kind of trigger points of how can we get customers or our entire flow and process or transaction to work seamlessly from end to end without any sort of manual babysitting or interference. Yet we have a very bullish approach on how we do customer experience. We want that human interaction and all that. So, for us, we're not necessarily streamlining self-serve to a point where you don't actually ever get to engage with an individual. We actually want that and celebrate that. So we really are marrying the two kind of angles of powering up our sort of tech stack and as much as we can to keep things foundationally strong and smooth. And then on the other end, pair that with just a great selection of people that love what they do. It's a recipe for success, and so far we've been thrilled with the results that those two are showing together.
Yeah, and we always try to make sure whatever tech we bring in can connect and speak to each other. Sometimes it doesn't always happen. I would say omnichannel is a myth, but if you can get the best tech stack that everything communicates with each other and you're getting the information you need, that's what really comes key into running a customer service team.
How do you measure success? What are your metrics that you're looking at? How do you know you're achieving your goals and aspirations and meeting those intentions that you have in terms of delivering customer satisfaction?
So the metrics is something that we've actually gone back and forth on a lot. And I think, whenever we're onboarding a new agent, the key thing that we tell them is unlearn whatever you think you know about customer service. Whatever you learned in the past, forget it. You're not going to use any of that here. The biggest metric is going to be empathy and communication for us. And I'm a firm believer that if we're able to train and have that portrayed in our service, everything falls into place. We've been able to get our CSAT to the highest it's been since the company has launched, just by focusing on the empathy that we have our agents putting out. Sorry about that. I mean, I guess it really does help when the clients put out empathy as well, because then it's really when it goes to that human to human. It's like, oh, okay, you're understanding me, I'm understanding you. So outside of that, we do have those kind of high-level metrics, which will be response time. We do keep it for emails under 2 hours and for chats around 45 seconds. since we've been focusing on empathy and actually the quality of service, we've seen that actually drop, and we have been really killing the game and like gotten to numbers. Recently, it's been like 20 minutes for our response time, and it's because our agents are able to just go in and they don't have to worry about, oh, they're going to be upset if I say this, or that. They're like, oh, this is how I saw the issue. This is the resolution they're looking for. Let me just go in and do that. I don't have to check in with anyone. I don't need permission to send or say what I want or offer what is needed to be offered in this situation. But yeah, Mark, any other metrics? I know if we want more numbers, I can speak more numbers. But I think, like you said, we're not trying to rebuild customers' experience, but we're definitely trying to do it different. So focusing on a different type of metric is going to be something we focus on as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could craft a better response than that, but I think to pick out some of those points that Nancy raised, we do the traditional stuff because it's measurable. It's obviously all the sort of quantitative statistical measurements that we want to see, and we kind of don't necessarily focus too heavily on that. I know Boldr separately is slightly different and to try to keep the norm across various clientele. But for us, we don't necessarily focus on hitting those metrics by focusing on the metrics. We focus on the foundational and fundamental aspects in terms of what Nancy mentioned, empowering the folks on the front lines to make a decision, make a call, build that confidence and self-esteem to say, hey, you know what, Pete, you have a challenge. How about A, B, and C as options for you instead of just a forced, pre-scripted policy that is either a binary 0 or 1, So I think giving that level of freedom in the beginning takes time because, as Nancy mentioned, there's a lot of unlearning you have to do, and a lot of the transactional CX departments out there are very, scripted to a point of, well, if this kind of challenge occurs, then this is the solution I need to pursue. We really are breaking that sort of that norm and trying to provide a guideline and sort of direction as opposed to policies and boundaries. And so, I think we've seen that really successful, and we do that internally. We do that with Boldr, and the results then just start speaking for themselves. To quickly pivot on the company, which is a little bit different, we do have objectives and key results that we do focus on. But even those as well, we don't necessarily just go gung-ho. We're focusing on how can we launch to 3 or 4 different retailers this quarter, or how can we get to this particular revenue level. Those are really just the quantitative tracking metrics, but it's really about that diversifying from the core and trying to achieve those objectives by being creative and different and having fun in doing it, because then you start thinking about all kinds of opportunities. So yeah, we through and through like to do things a little bit differently, I would say.
We also focus on, I would say, probably across all departments, the voice of the customer. Because as long as you focus on that, you're able to achieve and excel any of your other goals, especially within the customer service team. Looking at a negative, kind of review that somebody leaves for an agent. Why is it negative? Was it actually the service, or was it because they didn't get what they wanted, or there was something that was wrong with the product that they received? We kind of take that and use it to create different policies or create different solutions.
But these were really a sort of a product born from customers' demand. And we launched our sets. We had a overwhelming amount of demand across all channels, emails, in chats, social media, for us to launch smaller sized products specifically for these two. And we had no plan to do it in the very beginning because we just thought everyone's going to be fully satisfied with 4 pieces, all that you need. But it wasn't all that everyone needed, or at least some. So by listening to the customer for everything from new products, as well as to changing our approach as to how we handle things, is something that we're always in tune with and always, thinking about it from as much of a viewpoint as we can to ensure that we're always, considering every angle and every kind of request that we get.
Great. So now we're coming into a busy time of the year for you, our Q4 season ramp. What does success look like for Caraway during the upcoming ramps for Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
Yeah, I mean, I think for our business and for additional context, we are extremely seasonal. So majority of our revenue comes in the fourth quarter, October through to December. Our products are very big from a gifting perspective. People love to give Caraway to their friends, their family. We also run site-wide promotions during this time through what we call Cyber Month, which sometimes is Cyber 2 months. So it really starts for us in the November period, beginning of November. And what we think about in terms of success from a sort of customer or sort of CX basis is really the communication and transparency. I think in the industry of e-commerce and consumer products, when you're shopping online, the unknown of what's really going on is probably the biggest pain point. We find that customers, when you're transparent, you're very can explain situations with a lot of detail and depth and provide the platform and the communication mediums for that. Generally, any kind of challenge that might be occurring, such as fulfillment delays or issues, are really seen as pretty accepted and standard. And so for us, it's really about how can we get this huge onslaught of customers that we're going to receive in the next few months. How can we position them in the best possible way to receive all the relevant information they need to have about the products, about when they should arrive, how they should arrive, and all that. So that's a combination of a strong tech stack. It's a combination of supply chain visibility, fulfillment, warehousing preparations and capacity preparations, and then all the communication tools as well as the team to be able to then provide and easily access that info to any customer that writes in inquiring about it. So that's kind of what I would draw it up to.
Of course. So I think the biggest piece of advice I would give to the industry is making sure you focus on your tech stack. You could hire 50, 60 agents to ramp up, but if nobody actually knows what's going on, you're not going to be able to give the quality of answers that your customers are expecting. Making sure your systems are all speaking to each other was probably the biggest thing we focused on for Q1, Q2, and Q3. Just getting it all working seamlessly, flowing, and identifying those weak points and figuring out, okay, this might not be the best right now, but during the holiday season, what can we actually do? Was probably the biggest code that we cracked this year, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that something that resonates a lot with me is to that point, if you just throw a number of agents or people at a problem, or in the case of customers writing in, trying to find out what is their order status, or they're trying to access information that they don't otherwise have. If the team is not empowered and has that info accessible at that time, then it doesn't really matter, to Nancy's point. So what we really obsess about is the tech stack across the entire organization and ensuring that everyone has that transparency of information, the visibility as to what's really going on. And, for us, the whole CX and operations departments or divisions, a lot of companies separate them. They don't really synergize, too well. Whereas for us, it's all under one umbrella. And we feel that the information that someone servicing a customer needs is the same information that anyone monitoring a transaction, fulfillment, anything like that. We feel that's it's pretty similar. And so, in order to really knock the holiday season out the park, I feel like we have been obsessing 3 quarters now, probably 4, that we've been doing this, where we want to really get our tech stack to a great level. We feel really great about where we've come today, and we're really surfacing that information to our team so that they can provide info right away when customers hit our chat or email or anything like that. We're a bit obsessive, I would say, over it, but all for the right reasons. And we see the results and the rewards that it brings. So just more of that to come.
You've got the choice to do this customer support in-house, and you've got the option to outsource it. What are your reasons for outsourcing?
Yeah, I mean, kind of going back to the learnings a little bit, we had a realization in the fourth quarter of last year after our holiday season, kind of in the middle of the holiday season, I would think that's when it really hit us, that we're a very fast-growing e-commerce company. Some of the numbers are frightening. Our number of products that we've brought in, our inventory, and everything like that. So the scale that we're seeing is really something that I guess we didn't really fully understand. And I think we were mature enough to a point where we said, to continue scaling this and to grow in such crazy multiples each year, what we need to do is, rethink how we're doing customer experience, rethink the team itself. And so what we decided to do is this hybrid model of having in-house members of the organization focused on various different verticals or projects, and then the actual front lines of the team. We came to you guys and really went through the process to understand how can we marry those two together, where you have that core support internally with, I like to say, an army of individuals ready to provide that service. And we went through a process. The important things to us were, obviously, cost is always a consideration, even though I spent a bit of time hating a bit on the cost center idea of CX. It is a reality at the end of the day, but the combination of cost, time zone coverage, but also that happiness factor, that empathy, for us, we really wanted to find a partner that we felt like we would go out for drinks with, and a partner that we would just want to, turn into our friends and everything like that, because that's really where that recognition starts. And that's really where I feel like early on with Boldr, we really got to a point of finding that secret sauce. Not going to say we weren't a little bit biased, or at least I was, considering I'm from here, but that's probably for another time. But yeah, ultimately, that combination, the time zones, the cost, and the sort of word of mouth that we got from other clients of Boldr's, it all just fell into place, and the team did an amazing job making us feel comfortable from the very beginning when we started the sales process.
Yeah. AKA, we are not Batman and Robin, and we need help. I think what was really a growth point for Mark and I was just kind of unlearning what we thought an outsourced company was as well. You kind of think about an outsourced company and it's like, oh, it's a call center. There's hundreds of agents just sitting in a room working together. And Boldr actually matches our company culture perfectly. I always say, like, we get on a call and it's fun, we're laughing, we're having a good time. We chat with our, Boldr team. It's always that same energy that's kind of reciprocated back to us. And almost never feels like work, even though it's work.
100%. It's an extension of us, It's extended family. Is kind of how we would describe it. And yeah, the team is just fun, fantastic, and testimony is we're sitting here right now, so clearly something is going right.
It also gave us an opportunity to really kind of not worry about the growth aspect, because we know, okay, we're taken care of at Boldr. What can we do now to better the overall customer experience at Caraway? And that's where we got to be able to focus on all of these tech stacks for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And figure out, okay, internally, how can we structure ourselves so it's a fine-tuned machine? And it really gave us the peace of mind that we knew Boldr was taking care of a lot of that kind of nitty-gritty that otherwise takes a lot of attention that we didn't have.
I said it earlier, you being here and taking the time and the investment to be with the team, it's clear that it's made a profound impact for them and their energy, and learning from you what Caraway is all about. It's difficult having an outsourced team identify with your values, your clients, and what's expected from them. How have you worked with Boldr to overcome it?
That's a good question. I would say Boldr worked with us to overcome that more so than we worked with them. We kind of went into the interviewing process and we were like, these are the type of agents that we want and we need. Can you find them for us? And I'm not going to lie, we gave them a pretty difficult challenge. The kind of requirements we wanted, the personalities we wanted and needed more so for Caraway is outside of the norm. It's not just anybody. We focus a lot on personality. And even internally with Caraway, we have a few different rounds before you're offered a position. And we changed the norm with Boldr with Boldr. And we go through a few different interview processes, and one of them is really just personality. So focusing on that was something that Boldr really helped us with. That was just like we made the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And to echo that, I think what's been so refreshing for us is as we've led up to this holiday season, we increased our seasonal support. We've now got a fantastic group of folks that have joined mostly from here, a couple in Mexico as well. And it's amazing to us to see how much Boldr and the team have been listening and understand our business, understand how we operate, because some of these interviews that we just jumped into, the first 30 seconds to 1-2 minutes, we were just like, this person is great. These folks are fantastic. And you can now see that while we're here and having these conversations with them, pulling up a chair and working on a ticket together, they're just bought into the idea, and they're bought into the idea not so much of what we're selling and how we sell it, but more about the people that are behind the brand. And I think that that's what really drives the passion and the ambition that everyone has, and it's what drives a lot of us over at Caraway. Is we just work with the best people, and we are so thrilled and fortunate to to be in that environment, and it turns it into a lot of fun as opposed to a 9-to-5.
Thank you. Awesome. But South Africa recently has emerged as a new destination for outsourcing services and offshoring from the likes of the US, Europe, and Australia. Why did you choose Boldr? We've spoken about why you chose Boldr. Why specifically Boldr South Africa? Yeah,
it's a great question. Obviously, I'll start with the elephant in the room. That there's a little bit of bias there already, considering that I, of course, am proudly South African myself. But I think what we really saw is a combination of a few different factors, and the first one being the location in terms of a time zone advantage. I think that with South Africa, you get to benefit and enjoy, especially with the US time zones that are not necessarily too unfavorable to the team and to the individuals working it, whereas other parts of the world, such as the Philippines or other parts of Asia, a lot of the time it's a graveyard shift that you'd have to have the agents work to for the bulk of the sessions. And so I think that what really resonated, and what I'm very proud about, is this idea that the culture seeps into the working environment. And what Pete, you and I have spoken about a number of times is how the passion, the culture, and the sort of protectiveness that people have for one another in South Africa is something that a lot of the agents and across many organizations, they pour into their work, where they want to take care of someone, they want to help somebody resolve a challenge. They really want to be there and have somebody's back, which is something that I've never really pinpointed. And I'm sure Boldr spends a lot of time trying to identify what that secret sauce is. But I think it's made the empathy, the engagements, the fun and the joy that you see in these conversations really stand out. And for us to be able to harness that and provide our customers, who are majority US based, with that level of empathy and level of engagement is a joy to see. And that's really a strong reason as to why we're very bullish about South Africa.
Changing tack again slightly to an employer of record. Why choose an employer of record offering? And did you notice any benefits working with us in terms of in the EOR capacity?
Yeah, of course. I mean, so for us, the context behind that, we had a number of folks that we freelanced through the platform Upwork. And when we approached Boldr, one of the core things that we wanted to do was to retain the wonderful folks that we have currently scattered around the Philippines. And so for us, one of the biggest challenges, being a young company, high growth, and obviously not understanding the complexity of hiring or entities overseas, we wanted to retain these folks and kind of give them a new home, a home where they can get access to everything, or as much as possible, the similarities to what we have at Caraway. So we were really pleased and thrilled about the fact that we could essentially migrate them across. And I think initially there was a little bit of a scare because it did seem rather intimidating for the team, because it was essentially moving to a new environment and a new structure. But for us, it gave us real peace of mind because now they have a lot more support from employee benefits, well-being, access to healthcare, all those different things that you can't actually provide freelancers or contractors, internationally through those systems. And for us, the team, we actually had a call with them yesterday morning, and that's the benefit of the time zone in South Africa. It actually wasn't too late for them at all. And they, they're really, really happy. They really want us to go there next, which is a time for a little conversation we can have separately. But I think having that ability and having the resources and the team provide that option for us really made that transition super easy. And we felt really good about using that sort of department of Boldr to retain the awesome people that we have already in the Philippines. So we're super stoked with that.
And what was also really great to see was when we were able to kind of combine them and get them to be employers of Boldr, they got resources and training that they otherwise wouldn't have had. Boldr has a lot of different career paths and opportunities for people to take advantage of. So we had a few different shift leads that actually got additional training directly through Boldr to further their own personal careers and development.
So where would you like to see Boldr improve or add further value in helping Caraway achieve its strategic goals and help you achieve your future vision?
I'm not one of those people that believe in perfection, but I think Nancy and I, we were chatting about this last night. We got to give you guys credit. You've made this so easy for us. The whole team has been wonderful. And, to Nancy's comment earlier about what outsourcing, really is or was, and what we sort of approached the industry thinking, this is the way things should be done. And we kind of didn't expect that our influence and our, the way that we try and approach the challenge of outsourcing in general was going to be accepted, and we felt like maybe there would be some barriers and some rejection, but Boldr adopted the way that we wanted to work extremely well, and honestly, it really has gotten to a point where we really feel like it is such an extension of the organization that there's very few things that we don't already offer or extend to Boldr and the team that supports us. And so, it's really challenging to think about what could be improved when we're really focusing on small things that are more conversational based or metrics based. But right now as a partnership, I think the only thing to add would be we'd love to see Boldr sort of to the client side believe in themselves a bit more and let that idea of what you guys are doing and how to do it really lead the way, because I think that the confidence that the team has and the resourcing, the structures that have been established are really world-class. And I just hope other clients get to see what we've experienced in the past 6 months.
Yeah. I think Boldr is really setting a new bar as well. So our expectations were exceeded, honestly. Any small piece of feedback that we've ever given was, taken to heart, and changes made automatically. So there's really nothing left, guys.
I think ultimately, what we found is we've really just found a recipe that works with Boldr, and I think that it's exciting for us to see how this is going to scale, how our company is going to grow, and what the different areas of support we need. And I think something that maybe some clients or some listeners don't realize is that it's not just outsourcing of agents. There's everything from different elements of data entry, support, logistics. There's things that we could essentially grow a lot more outside of CX as our organization matures. And so I think we're very excited about not just the CX element of agents and shift leads and team leads and captains and that. It's more also about what other elements of our organization can we actually run through Boldr and use Boldr as that sort of powerhouse and army. I always like to use the word army. Sometimes it's not seen as the right one, but I think the possibilities are endless, and we're just super excited to continue feeding that and seeing where this goes.
Thank you. I think it's really important for us as a company, as your outsourcing partner, to to contribute and help you achieve not only those CX goals, but also to help you as a company achieve your strategic and financial objectives, and to be that partner. And again, just in closing, thanks again for being here. It's a true partnership. We share values. It makes working with one another so much more rewarding and easy. And your contribution being here, I speak on behalf of the team, has made a world of difference. So I appreciate that.